Welcome back to the Accountability Lounge. I'm your host, Balance. Today, I want to talk about male accountability. Um, I guess that's the best starting place for me before I jump into all the other things that I want to talk about, because I think a lot of men are not as accountable for their actions and how they treat women, the lies they tell, just a bunch of shit. And I think that before we can try to hold women accountable for the things that the modern women are doing nowadays, we have to take a look at ourselves. So for me, taking a look at myself started with just the actions. Even though I'm pretty honest, you can ask anybody that ever been with me. I tell them straight up if I want a relationship, if I don't. Where I'm moving in life, what I'm trying to do. Some people may say that they felt misled by me, but generally I speak what I really wanted out of relationships. But I think a lot of men don't do that, and a lot of my partners don't do that. So I'm just gonna start from my small, um, what do they say, generalization of shit that I know. You know what I mean? So I know a lot of my guy friends just out there trying to conquer pussy and trying to, just get with women. And sometimes, that leaves a wake of destruction in the path. So for women as well, because, the women, they get with guys and they truly get their hearts out and stuff like that. And then men kind of, not really want to be with a woman like that, but they still trying to get what they need to get out of her, what they want out of her. But it leads to a path of destruction and it makes people cold. So I can start with me. When I first started dating, I was green and I fell in love easy and was jumping through hoops for women and stuff like that. And my heart got broke because women were more into the guys that were more experienced and stuff like that. So for me, after a while, you build up this wall of you're not gonna fall in love as easy and you're gonna kind of play the field. And I think that's what women kind of miss the point of, is that men do kind of start off, from my experience, loving somebody or one woman, and then they kind of get their heart broke. And I'm pretty sure it's the same for women, where they kind of turn and start putting walls up. But men, what we got to do is, once we do this and once we learn ourselves and figure out what we want out of women, or what we want from our lives and what path we're on, is we have to be honest from the gate. If you're not honest from the gate, you're gonna cause yourself more problems. So moving past that point, I think that working on ourselves, getting your money right, getting your stuff right, and just making yourself more desirable to the opposite sex is a beautiful start for anybody. Now, what does that mean? That means that not focusing so much on women, still having relationships, because I'm in no means claiming to be like some high value guy. I'm a regular guy, held bus driving job, moved on to do other things now. I've never been this super rich dude, but I do well for myself. I got a couple properties and stuff like that. And, I kind of would want a woman there that's going to compliment me. You know what I mean? So I can start with like me and my fiance. We have had a long, long road. I knew her for about, maybe, I'm going to say, I say about 15 to 14 years. We just now kind of got engaged. I just got out of another relationship where me, her, and we were all cool. It was never any beef or anything like that. I got daughters with my ex and my current, and we've had our points, you know what I mean? And like I said, I think that Kevin Samuels had helped me out with a lot of that, because she was kind of bordering the modern woman. She had a lot of those attributes, and that's what just made us not really connect. We'd always argue about stuff, but I think I started listening to him, and she was kind of like, "What the fuck is this?" And da 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 da. You know how it gets. And then eventually she started listening to it and just realizing how simple men are that really want to be in relationships. So uh, and for me, I'm 46, so in my all through my 30s, I think I got at AC Transit where I was working at. I just wasn't ready to be in a relationship like that. I wasn't ready to settled down and I wanted to play the field. But after I got to about 35, I started kind of, realizing with the people that I had in my life and starting to having family and stuff, even though I had kids when I was younger, but I started having my second round, I call it my second round of kids, and I enjoyed the process. It wasn't like I wanted to be in the streets, you know what I mean? And you know, it's it's a different ball game when a man really is into that lifestyle, getting into that lifestyle. Like, I love my kids, I love all my kids, but it was just a different thing. And even with my kids, I had to understand how they felt because their dad wasn't around as much. I was in the streets, you know what I mean, selling drugs, doing all types of things that just, wasn't something that should be a family person, that would be a family person, that wanted to be a family person. So now that I have this newfound understanding of what I need to do as a man, I started looking back on my past discretions, and looking back on my past discretions led me to the fact that damn, I wasn't accountable for a lot of shit. I heard a lot of people just with me just want to be out there and have my fun, and you know, I never. I can't say that I never got with people and just doing a one night stand thing, but I did get in these relationships with people, and I did actually have love for people because I'm not the type of person that could just go out here just to conquer or do something. I really need to have some type of connection with a person before I can lay down with them, which I think everybody should. But it's people are different. So for me, I started realizing, and I actually called people back. I talked to my kids and apologized for me not being there as much as I should have been as a father. I called some of my exes and apologized for how I treated them. And for me, that's where my road to being accountable really started. You know what I mean? Being in the streets, I used to sell drugs. I used to do a lot of things, and I hurt a lot of people. I was a real violent, I guess, youngster because I grew up with a lot of stuff in my family. My mom was schizophrenic, and I watched her do a lot of violent acts towards my family, towards people that she loved, stuff like that. And seeing that just made me kind of, I guess it made me kind of hard, but I still had this heart in there where because I was actually raised by my great grandmother as well after my mom was out the picture, and she kind of instilled, just planted these seeds in me that you know made me know that at some point I could do better. You know what I mean? And a lot of prayer went into my journey from my great grandmother, who I love to death, the most important person in my life. And growing up with in the church and stuff like that, it was in me. The love was in me, but it just had to find a way to be brought out. So, in my accountability journey, once I started making those phone calls and apologizing to the people that I had issues with or that had issues with me, it made me a better person. It made me realize that life is different on many levels by the way you look at it. I stopped listening to a lot of, violent rap music because every time that I used to get pumped and want to go out there and do harm to somebody, I used to listen to this dude named X Rated. 666, Baby Killer. That shit used to have me pumped, and I'd be ready to do anything to anybody, no problems. You know what I mean? So I realized that a lot of my journey was tied into the things that I held at this great standard or on a pedestal of, oh, I want to be like that. I want to be, that nigga. You feel me? And it's like I had to change my way of thinking. So, you know, going to group homes, um, getting arrested, almost having a CYA commitment over my head. Luckily, I had people in my family that loved me and friends that came to that because I did a carjacking. Um, and the lady who car I jacked, it was her mother's was driving the car. She had owed somebody some money, and I went to collect, and I smacked their ass up real good. You know what I mean? And took the car, and me and my cousin was joyriding and got chased by the police and crashed and all that, and tore her car up. And the lady confronted me a few times when I got back out of juvenile, and she was pissed. And I tried to apologize to her even then, and just let her know, I served my time and did my bit, whatever I had to do for the community, whatever was requested of me. And, I tried to apologize to her, but she wasn't having it because it was her shit. And, so back in the day, she had a Nissan Maxima. That motherfucker was nice. So yeah, moving forward, I had a lot of things that was in me that needed to come out. And at the end of the day, I think that at some point I realized change is better than staying the same. So for me now, every day I try to experiment with something new, look at something new, listen to different types of music, and that's helped me. So for men being accountable for our actions and the things that we put out there and accept some of the stuff that women are saying and not make it seem like they crazy and just try to put it on, you know, how they mothers raised them, what they seen on TV and how they act and stuff like that. Sometimes we got to realize that we actually are the problem to what we kind of put them through from us being selfish and what we want, right? So I think if you can start there and you can look at their plight with us and figure out what you can do to be a better person to those people before you lose them or before you damage them to the point where they don't want to be in your life, that's always going to be a good thing for you in the long run, man. Because yeah, it's cool to tote the gun, it's cool to have a bunch of bitches, it's cool to have all that, you know what I mean, until all that shit gone because of the way you do people. So you know, take a look at yourself. Look at the people that you hurt or the people that you hurting. A lot of dudes, and I don't want to say everybody, a lot of dudes ain't there for their kids at all. Like I was always there financially and stuff like that, but I wasn't there. You know what I mean? So now I try to make sure that I'm there. You know what I mean? So I just think starting with your kids would be the best place to start, and then working towards the moms or vice versa. If the baby is young, start with the moms, man. If you're not good with your kid's mom, you never gonna be right with nobody. Unless I understand some of them are bad people. I've dealt with some that was terrorists. You know what I mean? And at the end of the day, I was still there for my kids, man. Because you put yourself in that situation, you stuck your dick in her. You know what I mean? Without thinking about what the consequences was, you made a life with that woman, and you have to be there for your kids, man. So I think that that's some of the accountability that men need to hit. We need to hit our financial responsibility towards those situations as well. Um, what else? And just be accountable for your actions as a man, like how you treat people around you. And that's not just the people that you know and love. I'm talking about like just people in the community. When you walk by somebody, try to say hi. Try to say hi to each other, man, because we got a issue with, oh, I don't like this cat because he looked like that or because he got this, and cats get jealous with stuff like that. So I think that we need to sit down and start loving ourselves more. I don't think we love ourselves like we claim we do. You know what I mean? So let's try to get that together, man, and make a change and hold yourself accountable. And I do want people to contact my show if you have something that you want to talk about or someone you need to talk to about things you've done. Um, what else? I'm trying to think. Yeah, and if I can help in any way, like I'm here to talk. You know what I mean? You better get on now before I get too busy though, because I'm like I said, I'm starting work. I'll leave some type of email for you guys to contact me, and we could talk about stories and probably just exchange phone conversations. I'm good with that if you don't want to do the show thing, but I really do want to help my community and see us be better. See us do like like it was a little bit. I'm not expecting everything to go back to like the 1960s, 1950s, but have some understanding. You know what I mean? So that's it.